了第7天。
武汉市第9医院与武汉市普仁医院，时间正好到了中午。我听说附近有一家餐馆正在为2家医院免费义务送餐。
所以我听说你们现在是只给医护人员送餐是吗？免费送餐吗？
对。
为什么要这么做呢？
没为什么，这不是应该做的吗？没为什么。
那你们像这样送给医护人员，你要直接跟他接触，你会不会有什么担心啊？
没什么担心的，
不担心，
一点都不担心的。正好我的车被掀了，今天受到哪些？
那用我们车吧，用我们车吧。这个我们现在已经做了多久了？这个爱心献餐这个事情，
献餐的这个事情是从初二吧，
初2就开始了。
就是没什么餐厅那个营业嘛。然后的确在这个饮食方面，一般的情况下是得不到保障的。
大概每天要送出去多少份呢？
我们我们一天大概要送100多份吧。
100多份。是指中餐吗？还是中晚餐呢？
中晚餐加
中晚餐加起来是吧？
对，一份是1个人的，你这有10份的。
我叫他们打个电话过来。
这一批有多少份呢
？28份。
有其他的资源不足吗？现在？
其他的资源，我们可能就是
包括防护那一些，
口罩啊什么的。
我想问一下，就是你们这个事情大概会持续到什么时候呢？有没有？
应该持续到不需要我们了吧？
我们在一个特殊的时期又见面了。你在家宅了几天了？
今天是第9天，我也没有去抢菜，我就正常买了些东西，够吃7到10天吧。反正这2天还有一点蔬菜，我就不想下去买了。
那在家里面都干嘛呢？
前几天是每天啥也不干，就是没有心情干。打开朋友圈里面呢，以前朋友圈里面大家都会晒各种不同的信息，现在一打开，我觉得99%都是在讲这个疫情多么可怕，多么恐慌。就越看越害怕。最一开始的一些消息呢，我们就也没太当回事儿，就是还嘻嘻哈哈的在就是自嘲。然后后来突然间很严重的时候，就可能我就一看我就会心里很难受，我就老想哭，老要流眼泪。就很多人去当志愿者，然后去组建群，然后也在发这种去募集物资的这种消息的时候，我就觉得自己就变成了一种像负罪感或者内疚吧，就是觉得自己好像做不了这种事情，或者没有这种能力，然后也不知道该做什么，然后这种双重的这种情绪吧，其实变成一种压力。我是感觉我自己的状态不太好，我就看到朋友圈里好多人都在说很丧、无聊，或者是每天也会流泪啊，就是看的新闻就很难受。然后我就发现可能不是我一个人这样子，我又在网上看到了一个医生，他就说有应激反应吧。
人民总菜药店因为买药在这有一个摔倒的，抢买药，然后就在里头出血了。故乡大街和新华街交口。
问我國家那場演備，
黨中央、國務院及時部署防控。
我们这就能死了，我们妹妹差点累都要累死了，天天上班，一天休息都没有。
给家人打一个报平安的电话，许一个与幸福有关的愿。
我不想回家，我不想回家过年啊！你们做了什么？你们做了什么？
跟爱在一起，让自己不感染，就是您对抗击疫情做出的最大贡献。
救命！你怎么来了？我也在烦恼啊！ 我也在发烧啊！
有最透明的公开信息。
评论的不及时，大家要理解。我只获得这个信息以后，授权以后，我才能评论。
8名散布谣言者被依法查处。
有最细致的防护准备。
今天下午我们穿这个卫健瓶，这个还没有开始干活，它就已经破了。
我国国内生产总值接近100万亿元人民币，人均迈上1万美元的台阶。
人都没得了，我叫小康。你们在搞么事？我们这些老百姓要你们这些政府搞么事
？8方驰援武汉，全国上下齐心。
哎呀，逮到我家武汉的车，要不要报警啊？
我们的物质储备和市场供应是充足的。
最担心的是防护物资不够，那么到后天你就没有 N95 口罩啊。
妈呀，看看这车，哎呦老天爷了！看看这车，
看一下西客站啊，西客站。
我上班去。
上哪上班去？
我上东平。
东平哪里？
我们是做那个什么的集卖郎的，我们明天上班。
明天上班，咱不是咱本地人，不是咱本地车，不让进了，应该放。
我的天，真放了！我给领导汇报，我批了那边。
这个是坚决不能再提了。你放心吧，你给领导说了，领导也不会扣你工资，这事也过不去。
是吧？听说东平有2例现在是吧？
2例可多了。
是吧？
那边来了光武汉都来了142个。
哎呀，好，谢谢你董事长，我调个头给领导汇报。
142个疑似的呢，还有咱瞒着不报的，还有咱接触人群呢，要回了。
不让进了是吧？好嘞，谢谢你董事长。
是吧？你刚才怎么说？
有暂住证、有常住证、有房产的可以过
啊，其他的车
一律不能过。
那别的地方可以。
了。
你是从哪里来的？
武汉。我来了。我来自武汉。
咁現場呢，就見到有市民呢揸住咗一張寫住武漢嘅卡，話自己係武漢嚟嘅，但係就唔知係咪啦。
冇條撚咩武漢？
有5個警察。
买双黄连口服液。
干啥去？你是咋溜达去？大过年的？
溜达犯法啊？
那不犯法，有疫情知道不？
有疫情有疫情。
要出门戴口罩啊。
不要，戴也辅助，不戴也。
我是进得去看，但住院的病床就不让看了。这武昌殡仪馆这里面尸袋，刚才我照给你们看了，现在又多了。刚才3个，现在我数一下啊，尸袋，1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8，有8个。哎呦，这么多真的死了。这是几天？就昨天的是吧？哎呦，这死人这么多啊！这是病床不让我进了，他在往这搬尸体呢。往这搬尸体，这里面还有整石，也有整石。哎呦，这里面也有整石。
哎，过来！哎呀，太不行！哎呦，
这你家什么人呢？
父亲。
哎呦，
我的父亲。
哎呦，
你的这个
就在一个
1万块钱
的火力中，完全完了。
不交的。
完了，估计不上来了，已经没有
啊，
生命特征。
不说了，交了。
没有生命特征了没？这个又完了，这个完了，这个又完了呀，这个又完了一个呀。又完那个，他儿子啊，又快死了一个，他儿子已经喘不过气来了，那个刚才3个，现在几分钟？5分钟了，现在已经8个了，又来了一个，来2个。怎么还有？里面还有尸体吗？还有啊，这么多！哎呦，这家伙这也太多了呀，这家伙。
会说，只求人民平凡美好的生活。不屈服不动摇，只为唤醒在自梦。值得人们我们有，不可战胜的力量，我们永不可摧毁的意志，我们有坚定的信仰，我们有蓝图的家园，为自由，为正义，为履行诺言，为赛革命，万众一起修炼海洋，升起中国永恒的太阳，一切都是刚刚开始。
人我是进得去看，但住院的病床就不让看了。这武昌殡仪馆这里面尸袋，刚才我照给你们看了，现在又多了。刚才3个，现在我数一下啊，尸袋，1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8，有8个。哎呦，这么多就真的死了。这是几年？就昨天的是吧？哎呦，这死人这么多啊！这是病床不让我进了，他在往这搬尸体呢，往这搬尸体。这里面还有枕石，也有枕石。哎呦，这里面也有枕石。
哎呀，对不起。哎呦，
这你家什么人呢？
父亲。
哎呦，
我的父亲。
哎呦，
你在这个住在一个1万米的，我的
完全
是啊，
完了。
我家的。
完了，估计不上来了，已经没有
啊，
生命特征。
不上来，
没有生命特征了没？这个又完了，这个完了，这个又完了呀，这个又完了一个呀。又完那个，他儿子啊，又快死了一个，他儿子已经喘不过气来了，那个刚才3个，现在几分钟？5分钟了，现在已经8个了，又来了一个，来2个。你们还有尸体吗？还有啊，这么多！哎呦，这家伙这也太多了呀，这家伙还在搬，这尸体还在搬。哎呦，8个尸体。哎，你们又快完了，现在8个了，8个尸体了，我刚才数了，8个了，8个尸体了，你去数我噻，你不敢吗？你敢不敢去数呀？8个尸体了，里面有一个又快完了，8个了，啊，8个了吗？对的，现在都属于8个了，8个尸体，我刚才数了吗？你去数呀，对的，听到了吗？8个尸体，
这是我旁边那人跟我说。
哎呦！
现在已经拖了8个。
然后有一个快死了，已经那个停着，他儿子在那哭，你进去看嘛，你不敢进去是吧？
哇，那我哪敢进？
你不敢进那就没辙了，那你没我胆大啊，讲。
不是，他那一车要拖出来多少个？
有多少拖多少，死100个还不拖100个，那谁知道啊？5个就拖5个，谁知道几个呀？这个讲，反正8具尸体了。哎呀，这个太狠了。大家好，我是方斌。这个我刚从这个5医院出来，这个我一进5医院啊，它就有一个殡仪馆，武昌殡仪馆的这个拖尸体的车子。我一进去的时候呢是12点嘛，多2分。 然后呢，进去以后呢，我就锁他那个里面的尸体，结果呢1、2、3个。然后等我去这个门诊去转一转，大概也就也就是5、6分钟吧，因为他要拖尸体，他要拖嘛。这个红灯，他要拖那个尸体，他就有点时间嘛，就是5分钟我出来，他就装的有8个尸体，就是我锁了下8个尸体。然后我进到里面去，他那个诊室有个诊室还是可以进。我进去以后呢，里面是有一个小伙子已经喘不过气了，他已经上气不接下气了，因为他父亲要死了嘛，打电话已经说不出话了。然后我去去看了一下他那个生命特征，就是基本已经完了，就算是已经死了吧，就是只是在蹦啊蹦，有点那个就是动啊动那种，就是急速动啊动就那种，就是快完了，也是快死了。然后我从那出来以后呢，他那个又在抬尸体，那个管装尸人他说尸袋，他就喊要拿尸袋，里面究竟有几个这个就不知道了，因为他可能就是中午来收一次呗，什么时候再来收一次呗，就这么一个情况。看来五医院看来死的这个比较多。哎呀，这个新闻报道这些报纸都不来报道。好，那我就先往我再去看一下他们说的那个国际博览中心的物资吧，看那边的物资究竟是不是积压，有还是没有，我再去看一下吧。大家好，我是方斌，今天是2月1号，现在11点过了几分。我刚出来，我11点钟就刚才在汉口医院，刚才去看了，我还以为大医院人会少一点，人还是很多。我刚才去看了里面，哎呦，好多人就躺着，已经不行了，有几个不行，有一个已经死了，就在走道上。那个医生呢就叫我别看了，他可能是怕我感染了，他叫我赶快离开。然后呢，他们现在就准备把他抬走，可能抬到火化场去吧，那怎么办呢？可能这个医院现在一个什么问题呢？就是没有这个媒体来报道，就我方斌一个人老是往医院里跑，然后呢能够照些就是一线的嘛，所谓的前线，说起来就是前线，这说起来真是，哎呀！可是真正的那些拿着钱的那些新闻单位，新华社、人民日报、人民日报，拿着那么多钱，中央电视台那电视台、湖北电视台、武汉电视台，拿着那么多的钱，为什么不到这个医院前线来报道？为什么不把真实情况报道出来？什么都是没死你们家人是吧？啊？哦，老百姓死了就死了。为什么前线第一线的医院里面不来报道？你们来报道还要防护服，对不对？跟你护得严严实实的，你为什么不来呢？就这样让真正的这些在医院里这些护士们、这些医生们、这些患者、这些受难的家庭，你们这新闻媒体还有良心吗？你们啊？唉，真是。汉口医院呢，现在是这个情况，然后等一会儿我再去协和医院再去看一下。协和医院说是不收病人。
那穿制服的呀，一拿就一大箱呀，昨天也是的呀，一来都是一大箱被别人拿走，2大包被人家拿走呀。我们老百姓买什么？来了几天了都买不到口罩，还叫我们每天打电话，昨天来了3次，来了都是看到被别人拿2袋拿走的。我们哪里买得到啊？他把老百姓搞成超级传播者，是的呀，买了才几天了都没有，电话打了不知道多少个了。好的，我们有文件的。那你们这老百姓也要买的呀，一开口就这点口罩，对吧？哦，政府的人是人，我们老百姓就不是人了。我们买是有上面文件的。你有上面文件，你到厂里面去买，你到药房里面买什么呢？药房不是给老百姓用的吗？ 一大袋口罩到货又没了，一群人都在这边傻等，真的是无语了。来了多少次多少天了都没有口罩。市场监督管理
打了12345举报，
举报没用的呀，他说他有文件的，你说搞笑不啦？就他们就是接管的，就是呀，打了也没用啊。你看一群人全部在这里等着，一大袋口罩没有了，老百姓每个人只能限购2包，来了多少天全部没有货。
看到欧南大桥、龙岗通好线所有的桥轮全部轮选到1号线，全部要从12点钟全部停止来往。大家好好待在家里，不要出。
viruses, but when things are big events, and this is going to be a big event in human history. This virus is a demon, and we cannot allow it to hide. That is from President Xi. He has now taken direct personal responsibility. He's now in charge of all things in China to do this. President Trump put forward his team yesterday and called forward a number of emergency measures, called it a health care emergency, as the World Health Organization has now done it. So this is a major thing. We're honored to have General Spalding. Thank you. Now, I got to start off first because I panicked the other day when somebody reached out to me and said, General Spalding got back from Taiwan and he's very ill with the flu. Spalding never misses an evolution. He's always there, and he said Spalding's laid up. He's been in bed for 3 days. He got the flu. I go, oh my God, we can't lose Spalding. You know, we're just starting this thing. So first off, please tell me you don't have the virus. What were you sick?
No coronavirus. Although they did quarantine me for just a few hours to make sure.
Wow. So listen, given your sense of things, you're one of the top experts in the country in how they roll. What do you think's actually going on over there? And the information we're getting out of the CCP, how do you assess it? Because you're one of the best guys at analyzing how this regime rolls.
Well, I think first of all, the beginning of this, all the way back to December, the local guys were trying to keep it contained because, part of the problem with their system is good news doesn't go up. And so they were trying to contain it. And, of course, what we have is a budding pandemic, and it can't be contained. So sometimes, and I think this is where, the idea of a totalitarian regime being a threat to human civilization comes into play, because when it comes to pandemics, it's not a good idea to not let good news or bad news travel.
And so you thought what happened is that so you believe that the senior people in the CCP may not have really known about this, because I discount that. I think that even though bad news, you don't like to travel, and I realize this is kind of like Chernobyl. Yesterday, the President of the United States had his experts up there talk about calling it an emergency situation, essentially shutting the borders to China by air. No Chinese nationals can come in, and anybody that's been the U.S. citizen is going to be in quarantine. Remember, this is not about the Chinese people. The Chinese people are the victim here. They're the most decent, hard.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Alex Azar, Secretary of Health and Human Services and Chairman of the President's Task Force on the Novel Coronavirus. I'm going to start by turning things over to Dr. Robert Redfield, the Director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, to discuss the current situation on the novel coronavirus. Dr. Redfield?
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Let me give you an update on the current situation of the novel coronavirus. First, though, I want to emphasize that this is a serious health situation in China, but I want to emphasize that the risk to the American public currently is low. Our goal is to do all we can do to keep it that way. Second, I want to recognize the concern that the American public may have, and I want to reiterate what I just said. Currently, the risk to the American public is low. As of today, there are nearly 9,700 cases in China, with more than 200 deaths. Additionally, currently there are another 23 countries that have confirmed totally 132 cases. This also includes 12 individuals who have been confirmed in 6 countries who did not travel to China. CDC has launched an aggressive public health response focused on early case recognition, isolation of those cases identified, and contact tracing around those individuals. This response is a layered response, which includes both targeted airport screening as well as heightened education and awareness of the American healthcare community to be vigilant in ascertaining the possibility of recent travel to China when they are evaluating patients with upper respiratory tract infection. To date, we have confirmed 6 cases of this novel virus in the United States. Most recent case had no travel history to China, but was a close personal contact of one of the previous cases that we had identified through our aggressive contact tracing. In addition, there are currently 191 individuals that are under investigation. Once again, I want to emphasize that this is a significant global situation and it continues to evolve. But I also want to emphasize again that the risk at this time to the American public is low. Mr. Secretary.
Thank you, Dr. Redfield. I would now like to invite Dr. Anthony Fauci, the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, to discuss the underlying rationale for the actions that I will be discussing after he concludes. Dr. Fauci.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. The concept that's underlying the action that you'll hear about shortly is the issue of the unknown aspects of this particular outbreak. So let me enumerate just a few of these. I can start off by putting it into perspective by telling you I often get asked, we have an influenza outbreak here. We have about 8,000 deaths already. We have about 100,000 hospitalizations. Why are we paying such attention, and why are we doing the kinds of things we're doing here right now? Well, the reason is, despite the morbidity and mortality with influenza, there's a certainty, for example, of seasonal flu. I can tell you all guaranteed that as we get into March and April, the flu cases are going to go down. You could predict pretty accurately what the range of the mortality is and the hospitalizations, as we've done over the years. The issue now with this is that there's a lot of unknowns. As you can see just from the media, the number of cases have steeply inclined each and every day. You know that in the beginning, we were not sure if there were asymptomatic infection, which would make it a much broader outbreak than what we're seeing. Now we know for sure that there are. It was not clear whether an asymptomatic person could transmit it to someone while they were asymptomatic. Now we know from a recent report from Germany that that is absolutely the case. There are a number of countries outside of China that have travel-related cases, and now what we're seeing is that there are secondary cases from them, and as Bob mentioned, we also have that in this country. The WHO has issued, as you know, a public health emergency of international concern declaration. If you put all these things together, I underscore what Bob said. We still have a low risk to the American public, but we want to keep it at a low risk. And because there are so many unknowns here, we're going to take the action that the Secretary will describe in a temporary way to make sure we mitigate as best as we possibly can this risk. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fauci. Today, President Trump took decisive action to minimize the risk of the spread of novel coronavirus in the United States. Since taking office, President Trump has been clear. His top priority is the safety of the American people. In addition to the steps that the doctors have outlined, we continue to operationalize a multi-layered, cross-agency public health response. Following the World Health Organization's decision to declare the 2019 novel coronavirus a public health emergency of international concern, I have today declared that the coronavirus presents a public health emergency in the United States. The actions we have taken and continue to take complement the work of China and the World Health Organization to contain the outbreak within China. In accordance with the declaration, beginning at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sunday, February the 2nd, the United States government will implement temporary measures to increase our abilities to detect and contain the coronavirus proactively and aggressively. Any U.S. citizen returning to the United States who has been in Hubei province in the previous 14 days will be subject to up to 14 days of mandatory quarantine to ensure they are provided proper medical care and health screening. To be clear, this applies only to U.S. citizens who have been in Hubei province in the past 14 days prior to their attempted entry into the United States. Any U.S. citizen returning to the United States who has been in the rest of mainland China within the previous 14 days will undergo proactive entry health screening at a select number of ports of entry and up to 14 days of monitored self-quarantine to ensure they've not contracted the virus and do not pose a public health risk. Additionally, the President has signed a presidential proclamation using his authority pursuant to Section 212F of the Immigration and Nationality Act, temporarily suspending the entry into the United States of foreign nationals who pose a risk of transmitting the 2019 novel coronavirus. As a result, foreign nationals, other than immediate family of U.S. citizens and permanent residents who have traveled in China within the last 14 days, will be denied entry into the United States for this time. Once again, these actions will become effective at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sunday, February 2nd. These prudent, targeted, and temporary actions will decrease the pressure on public health officials screening incoming travelers, expedite the processing of U.S. citizens and permanent residents returning from China, and ensure resources are focused on the health and safety of the American people. I want to stress, the risk of infection for Americans remains low. And with these and our previous actions, we are working to keep the risk low. All agencies are working aggressively to monitor this continually evolving situation and to keep the public informed in a constantly transparent way. The United States appreciates China's efforts and coordination with public health officials across the globe and continues to encourage the highest levels of transparency. It is likely that we will continue to see more cases in the United States in the coming days and weeks, including some limited person-to-person transmission. The American public can be assured the full weight of the U.S. government is working to safeguard the health and safety of the American people. I'd now like to invite Deputy Secretary of State Steve Biegun for an update.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Secretary Azar. My name is Steve Biegun. I'm the Deputy Secretary of State, and I represent the State Department on the President's novel coronavirus task force. Let me describe briefly the role of the Department of State in the proceedings of this task force and our contributions. Our first responsibility is to monitor events on the ground in China, where we have the presence of U.S. diplomats, and to give clear and accurate advice to American citizens, and in particular, American travelers considering visiting or staying in China. In this particular case, this includes identifying any health or safety risks to which they may be subjected, but also, very importantly, identifying their access to essential services such as health care in parts of China that are affected by this coronavirus. China has an excellent healthcare system, but in parts of the country it is simply overwhelmed in the accessibility to that healthcare for any reason, including potential infection, but also any other type of accident in need of medical care may be compromised during the Chinese government's own treatment of the consequences of this virus. Finally, we also make our judgments based upon any obstacles, particularly obstacles to movement, that American citizens might face in the country. And in China, we have seen barriers to travel, both within and without China, as well as between the United States and China. And so we have given prudent advice over the course of the week to American citizens in order for them to allow them to make the best possible choices for themselves. Our second responsibility is to assist U.S. citizens in the affected areas as much as possible. Because we have a presence on the ground, we can provide advice, and in some cases we can make other arrangements. But I want to emphasize this is as possible, and we will continue to review what we can do in certain circumstances. Finally, and very importantly, the core mission of the Department of State is to work closely with our international partners. And in this case, we are working very closely with the Chinese government in order to address a number of related matters. But let me start on behalf of the President and the Secretary of State by extending our deepest compassion to the people of China. This has been a very difficult time for the Chinese people. It came at a point of their peak holiday season. Many are affected. Many have lost loved ones or are enduring the illness of loved ones. And I want the Chinese people to know that they have the deepest sympathies of the United States of America. Let me also say and echo what Secretary Azar said, which is we are deeply appreciative of the close cooperation we have with the Chinese government as we work together to try to find appropriate ways to address any risks and challenges from this virus. And finally, the United States will continue to cooperate with China in ways that we could potentially provide assistance, including technical assistance, and also to the extent possible, any critical supplies that the Chinese need in order to address this virus. And we are working very hard to find donors and make arrangements so that we can undertake a robust effort to help the Chinese people get their arms around this outbreak. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Began. Let me next invite the Acting Deputy Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, Ken Cuccinelli, to take the podium for some comments.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I am Ken Cuccinelli. I'm the Acting Deputy Secretary at the Department of Homeland Security, and I'm the department's representative on the task force led by Secretary Azar. Several elements of the Department of Homeland Security are engaged in implementing the medical strategy you heard described here, including Customs Border Protection, which stands at our land ports, seaports, and airports, and I'll come back to the airports in a moment, particularly the Office of Field Operations personnel who you see when you come back into the country from your travels. They're the first line of defense when you land and come to the country. Additionally engaged is TSA, the security and the engagement with the airlines. Our chief medical officer in the department is in CWMD, and we're providing medical support at the airports. So we're using contract authority that we have to backfill the CDC personnel so they can be freed up for other missions at the airports where medical screening is being focused. FEMA continues to prepare and support HHS preparations themselves, and then the United States Coast Guard of course, commands the ports of the United States and deals with incoming shipping, which is obviously slower than the airplanes, but coming nonetheless, and we're prepared to deal with each of those. The President's proclamation will have Customs Border Protection ensuring that United States citizens, legal permanent residents, and their immediate families continue to enter the United States, though those coming from Hubei province, as you heard from the Secretary, will be subject to quarantine, and the others from China to screening. We will be implementing a funneling effort at the airports. This is done under the authority of the Customs Border Protection, and it will include 7 airports. So starting 5 o'clock on Sunday, Eastern Time, incoming flights from China will be funneled through 7 airports. Those airports are JFK, Chicago's O'Hare, in San Francisco, Seattle, Atlanta, Honolulu, and LAX. This is done under CBP's authority, will be executed by the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, consistent with the President's proclamation and in support of that effort, again, so we can focus the expertise of the medical professionals that will do the screening to implement this. We'll continue to support the medical efforts across the country, both at our ports, our land, sea, and air, as well as with personnel standing up some of the resiliency measures that HHS has been working on for some time. Thank you.
Los días de aislamiento, los 5 turistas alemanes en La Gomera los hemos visto en la terraza del hospital, haciendo fotos y leyendo al sol. 2 de ellos habían estado en contacto con un portador del coronavirus antes de viajar a España y presentaban síntomas leves. Ahora los 5 esperan el resultado. Desde el Ministerio transmiten noticias esperanzadoras sobre el virus.
Parece que la epidemia tiene posibilidades de empezar a remitir. Nosotros creemos que España no va a tener, como mucho, más allá de algún caso.
Hoy hemos visto regresar a Sergi Molet, un español residente en Wuhan que salió de la ciudad antes del brote. Se enteró del aislamiento cuando estaba de vacaciones en Tailandia.
Estamos constantemente en comunicación con la embajada, con médicos. Entonces nosotros estamos dentro de todo tranquilos.
Ha dado negativo en todas las pruebas, pero quiere tener precaución.
Pues no nos cuesta nada ahora, aunque ya hemos pasado el periodo de cuarentena, pues seguir con las medidas recomendadas.
Y en Ciudad Real, el hombre de 38 años que había viajado a China y presentaba algunos síntomas, ha dado negativo en las pruebas tras un día de aislamiento.
日本政府は今日から中国湖北省発行のパスポートを持つ中国人の入国を原則拒否します。そして中国全土にいる日本人に一時帰国の検討を促しています。
日本にとっても多分僕にとってもいいかなと思っています。感染拡大次第。
政府は今日から中国湖北省からの日本人以外の入国を原則拒否することにしています。また中国にいる日本人に対しては一時帰国を含む安全確保の検討を進めています。羽田空港には多くの日本人が上海から日本に帰国しました。
急遽もうチケットを取ったというのは。
そうですね、昨日ですね、本当に外務省の方から毎日メールが来るので、それで確認しましたし、
上海では食料品などが入手しづらくなっているということです。日本に滞在していた中国人の旅行者らを乗せた中国のチャーター機が武漢に向けて羽田空港を出発しました。中国の格安航空会社春秋航空のチャーター機は今日午前3時過ぎ羽田を出発しました。まもなく武漢に到着します。乗客らは日本から武漢に戻ることを希望した中国人の旅行客で1人3万7000円ほどを負担しています。武漢は春節の大型連休前の23日から空港が閉鎖され、海外に出た多くの人が戻れずにいました。またこの武漢に隣接していて新型コロナウイルスの感染が広がる広州市の衛生当局トップが更迭されました。習近平国家主席肝入りの中央監督チームが視察した際、このトップは病院の受け入れ可能人数などについてすぐに答えられなかったということです。
Australia has imposed a partial shutdown of its border with China in a bid to contain the coronavirus. Effective immediately, only our citizens can enter Australia from China, and those who do will have to isolate themselves for 2 weeks. Our chief correspondent Chris Reason is on Christmas Island, where preparations are underway to house Australian evacuees from the Chinese mainland. Chris, these details have only just been announced. What are they?
Yeah, good evening to you, Rob. Well, this is the most serious and dramatic escalation of this crisis from the Prime Minister this afternoon, announced just within the last hour or so. As you say, effective immediately, all but our own citizens will be allowed into the country and our territories, and also those that do come in, that do get through, that's of course only Australian citizens, will then have to self-isolate for 14 days. Is it a legal requirement? At this stage, the Prime Minister is saying that we are asking and requiring them to. He's also raised the travel advice to China to level 4, that is, do not travel in that country. Let's take a bit of a listen to what the Prime Minister had to say at his press conference a short time ago.
We're acting here in advance of many countries in terms of when similar type of arrangements are being put in place. We're doing this so you can get about your daily lives in a normal way.
It, of course, means that the Wuhan evacuees being brought in by that Qantas rescue mission to here, Christmas Island, the detention centre not far from where I'm standing, that could be among the last of the...
What are the numbers? It's a 2.0 for something, 3.0 for something?
Again, it depends on the social situation.
Let's say the social situation is Wuhan, China. I'm just throwing out. I'm throwing out.
Or better yet, let's say the social situation of the 1.5 million Uyghurs who are being kept in very densely populated camps.
Oh, that's bad. That's bad.
If it gets into the Uyghur subpop, we already know there's some outbreak.
Like typhus in the concentration camps in Germany.
I was alarmed yesterday when Chicago had a secondarily transmitted case.
Why were you concerned?
They're bankrupt. And I don't know.
You mean the city public health service?
Well, I would assume so. That's where they take money from whenever you want to adjust city finances.
But up until, when you were on the show yesterday morning, you weren't that concerned because there was no human-to-human transmission so far in the United States. Why is what happened in Chicago yesterday made you more concerned?
Because of the low socioeconomic neighborhoods. These are at high risk, Stephen. These are the ones that are going to be hit the hardest. They're going to have the most morbidity and hospitalizations. They're going to have the most death rates if this thing does turn very lethal.
But the way to stop the lethality is to stop it and to help assist China to stop it there, right? With whatever quarantine
this thing's out, and these viruses are doing their own thing now. It's not from a centralized city.
Define for our audience, people like myself and other civilians, when you say do its own thing, I know that means something to you.
I'm sorry. Every time this virus...
Jack may come across as a microbiologist, but I'm not. I'm just a schmendrick. So you got to take it down to its common denominator.
On radio.
Yeah, exactly.
These RNA viruses are very error prone. By that we mean to replicate they have to copy their genetic instructions, and they're really lousy at it. They make a mistake. So you don't just have one virus when you're infected inside you. You have these what we call quasi-species. It's still the virus, but it may have a different random mutation than some of the other daughter viruses. Well, what it is, it's pulling the handles of a slot machine. It's looking for the jackpot. It's looking for the mutation that would allow it to replicate a little bit better and transmit a little bit better than its sister viruses. If you pull the handle of a slot machine enough times, you're going to hit a jackpot eventually. It may take 1,000,000 times. What is alarming is once you get to a certain number of people that are infected, the probabilities of this is a lot of virus in Wuhan.
Newspaper about this is China's biological Chernobyl. Do you actually believe that the CCP at the highest levels may not have known about this for a while?
Yeah, I believe that. And it's just the way that system works. They don't, and it continuously happens where they try to keep it contained, and then once it can't be contained, what's happened is, of course, a lot of those local officials have been sacked as a result. But I mean, still the system is not good at passing up information, particularly that is counter to what the the leadership wants to hear.
Our last thing, Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State Pompeo, has been over in Europe and in Ukraine, and I think he was in the United Kingdom. He said, I think it was yesterday, the greatest existential threat to the United States, to the West, and our greatest enemy is the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, which is a pretty, we have a whole of government approach now, but that's a pretty, pretty tough throwdown. How do you think the CCP weathers this pandemic? Is their whole legitimacy of their regime on the line here?
No, I don't think that's the case yet. But I do think that Xi Jinping is really in peril, because what's going to happen is you're going to see fracturing. I think you already have, especially when you saw the papers come out, in the New York Times about the Uyghurs. So you see these fissures happening when you see internal Chinese Communist Party documents being leaked. I don't think, and then of course with this pandemic, you see a lot of criticism of the administration, which is quite frankly since the 19th Party Congress, all Xi Jinping, and so I think it's going to be damaging to him. It will be the economy that is the unwinding of the Chinese Communist Party, but in the short term, I think it's Xi Jinping that's at risk.
How big? One of the things they're being most criticized about is, and remember, for the audience, the Chinese are a very traditional society. That's why this movement from rural to urban has been so earth-shaking. The one-child policy has been so earth-shaking. This is a very traditional family. A nation built around the family unit. In fact, their religious thing is almost ancestor worship of who came before them, not so much religions as we know them, although Christianity and Catholicism and these religions, Buddhism, Falun Gong, have caught on like a wildfire over there. But Golden Week, the New Year's, and that's why I broadcast with Miles Grove for 2 days, almost nonstop at the New Year's, because it's such a big deal. They spend this thing called Golden Week or Spring Festival, or whatever they call it. They go back home. It's the largest migration in human history every year, where they go back home to their families to do it. And they have these amazing celebrations, community-oriented, city-oriented, regionally-oriented, family-oriented. It happens.
就是最穷的、最弱小的中国的穷人，说基本上可以确定的，如果共产党不采取措施，一定会解决。如果现在共产党开放互联网，就把信息全弄进来，全世界人民共同抵抗这个疫情，接受全世界的科学家、技术、资金来帮助，是可以免掉的。说如果中国的这个混蛋的独裁继续在中南坑来执行他那些所谓的不可告人的目的，实现那不可告人的目的，继续这样下去，过亿是肯定的。这也是西方国家为什么在几十年来没有发生过的，下出了这么一个大的通知。大家记住啊，文贵早说过的，脱钩跟世界脱钩最大的体现就是金融市场金融市场脱钩完以后，那就是整个人与人的脱钩，关系的脱钩。脱完钩以后就叫仇视，像打架一样，像划地盘，你的我的分清敌营还有我赢了。分完以后，大家开始瞪着眼睛看，咋的呀？什么意思啊？过来挑衅，挑衅完以后看谁先出拳，然后就是打，看谁倒下，就这结局。领导全世界，要求和美国叫共同治理，新型大国关系建立多极化的世界，然后到处蓝金黄，一带一路。再看看今天尸横遍野的整个中国，到处都是雾霾，看不着太阳，飞了满天的乌鸦，连个口罩都没有。连中国最大的红十字会主席竟然是王岐山。王岐山为什么当年要当这红会的主席呀？当会长啊，那这小子不是开玩笑的。为什么他要建火葬场的生意呀？为什么搞养老产业呀？这个王岐山从你开始怀孕，中国人到你生下来，到你上学，红黄蓝幼儿园，到你成长，到教育领域，到你搞金融，到你整个的金钱流动，到你死到火葬场，全他说了算。所以说，王岐山说的中国人3年吃草，没问题。可中国人死一半中国会更好，这种逻辑，这不是王岐山一个人？你必须公平的说，共产党的高层无一不这样想，没有一个不这样想的大家一定要相信，共产党的上层没有这么想的。我忘了是2017年是 我告诉所有的海外华侨同胞们，如果你看到中共今天这样把尸体横尸在街上，一个一个的倒下，王建被装进装尸袋还流着眼泪，和王建的普罗旺斯死，和王建现在的账号还在运行，和海航陈峰等人的双休和王岐山，和孟建柱的红黄蓝幼儿园，和杨洁篪在全世界上代表中共的力量，想干谁就干谁的这种力量，杨洁篪，再看看孙立军在香港、台湾的杀掠，看看吴征注册专业的特务，代表共产党在灭掉一切反共的力量。如果还不唤醒你还在这块支持共产党，你就是中国人的敌人，全世界的敌人，一定会比疫情还严重对你打击。无论你藏身什么地方，你都将会受到打击、摧毁啊！所以说，亲爱的兄弟姐妹们啊，一定要记住，一定要记住，一切根源都是共产党制造的，一切你的死亡和挑战是共产党给你的。这个世界上真的有一个国家，有一个政权，有一个政党不希望老百姓好，不希望老百姓活着，希望你死，这就叫共产党。否则怎么全世界的叫去救命，给钱给东西他不要呢？他为什么让老百姓在临死前要捂住眼睛、捂住耳朵、闭上嘴呢？还不打开你的网络防火墙呢？
好，截止国内时间2月1号，全球被确认的冠状病毒感染病例已经达到12037例，还是全部基本上集中在中国大陆地区。然后从这个曲线上可以看到在昨天1月31号到2月1号之间，大概中有将近700个新增的病例然后从图上也基本上可以看到，仿佛这个疫情已经被控制到了，但是共产党的话大家不能够相信同时呢，全球确认的这个死亡的人数已经上升到259人，其中249人是在湖北的武汉地区共计284名患者被治愈康复。希望武汉加油，国内的疫区的这个同胞们注意安全多多保重。